All right, so let's see. So moving along with the book reviews. I read a few, quite a few, F. Scott Fitzgerald short stories. I, like a lot of other people, read The Great Gatsby and his earlier works. Like I got this collected case of works. I think it says that sticker of F. Scott Fitzgerald, and it has a lot of his early short stories. And there's a certain magic or a certain charm or whatever that comes through. Like the optimism of the new century or something like that. It seems to be like a conduit for the new age or something like that. I share a lot of the identical feelings with his works like a lot of people. Then I got this is like his beginning of his career, right? And then I was at a bookstore and I picked up this. It's the Pat Hobby stories, which are a series of short stories he wrote. And he wrote these. These are the last stories he wrote. I think he died while he was in the midst of writing these stories. And it's like, you gotta wonder, it's like, where did the magic go? I mean, maybe he was a harbinger of the new century or something. Maybe he did have a connection with the zeitgeist or something like that. But I think I figured out what the mystery is, because these stories, I don't know, they're competent, but if this is all I knew about F. Scott Fitzgerald's, it would be very forgettable, and I wouldn't think anything special about him or his writing. And I think the answer is these stories are kind of autobiographical, because has a lot in common with this character in this book. He was kind of a washed up has been, and scrounging around for jobs in the movie industry and stuff like that. I guess writing dialogue for movies or little writing touch up kind of jobs and stuff like that. And also the character in this book is an alcoholic, you see. And I found out later that F. Scott Fitzgerald did have a terrible, terrible drinking problem. So I think he might have I guess he might have incinerated a lot of his more creative brain cells or something, I think. So unfortunately, you can see the bad effects of prolonged drinking. I know people personally who basically kind of shadows of their former selves, or grotesque caricatures of their former selves from their extensive drug use or drinking, or both. Apparently it does do a number on your brain, because reading something like this is it's kind of depressing, because you think the character in this book is my age, and he's all washed up, he's a has-been, and it's wow, so maybe I don't know, I should have really worked harder to hit it big when I was younger, because maybe I don't have that gift anymore. Maybe but I did never really abuse myself quite as hard with drugs or alcohol as these characters. You might laugh, but that's another thing a lot of people.
No, I'm laughing because abuse yourself means masturbating.
All right. No, because despite what a lot of people seem to think, I was never really as hard into drugs as people always assumed I was. My take on the drug use was you're gonna go explore these realms of the subconscious. I always would want to bring back a souvenir, something to share with everybody else. So whenever I would get loaded or tight or whatever you want to call it, it's I'd always do something creative. I didn't just sit around and go, wow, man, I am so stoned. It's what's the point of that,
And so drunk you had to drive home with one eye shut.
Yeah, that was once. The guy tricked me into drinking beer and wine at the same time. Don't ever do that, people. Don't ever drink beer and wine at the same time. It's a very bad thing. So I'd always want to do something creative whenever I got high. And so many people that see this stuff that I did, and they knew I was high when I did it, and they dissociate it with me, and they think wow, this guy's a real high. I'm not convinced a lot of these people your Jim Morrison and artists, people who are just stoned or they're spun or
wasted.
Get lit up or whatever, all the fucking time. It's well, I guess it's a good thing he died in his fucking 20s, because this stuff would have been even shittier if he was alive and kept working. I never thought Jim Morrison was any good. His poetry just sucks so bad. The guy's such such a conceited blowhard. I can't stand his stuff. I mean, I kind of like felt an obligation to like read his stuff when I was a teenager because everyone thought he was a god or something like that. But I was never terribly impressed with anything he did.
Did you say you found out there was actually a college class themed on talking about the lyrics of Kurt Cobain's songs?
Oh yeah, there's all these easy A kind of like elective classes the colleges they have, and it's about and they have classes where they study like episodes of Ren and Stimpy, or you name it, and any stupid countercultural thing. It's not all about like LGBT and black studies and stuff like that. I mean, any kind of nonsense you could think about, they put it in the college curriculum. It's all part of, I guess, the cultural Marxist thing. They don't want you to really learn anything and get like smart in college. This is like an indoctrination center. So, and indoctrinating somebody into like popular culture, I guess it's just about as useful as indoctrinating people into the hardcore cultural Marxist stuff, like minorities and studying people's oppressions and stuff like that. Because the counterculture, like always, parrots the official line too, so they're gonna get into your head one way or the other. But yeah, so F. Scott Fitzgerald, very sad story. Which I think the Pat Hobby, his character was actually like 49, and I think he was like 44 or 45, and he had I think it was a cardiac incident. I think, I'm not sure, but he was a hard drinker. Apparently, he was like trying to like not drink so much during his final days, but I guess the damage was done by that point. So yeah, real depressing Pat Hobby stories.
Is it called Wet Brain?
Maybe that's what it is.
Damage.
Yeah. I can't remember any of the stories that stood out. I can't think of any that, and he didn't write anything in here as good as like, a diamond as big as the Ritz or any of the other really wonderful stories he wrote in here, like the cut glass bowl. That's a depressing story, my gosh. All these old stories, they're very clever, and they'll usually have like a sort of like a literary twist or something like that. But these things are just like, they're almost like existential. They're so bland and plain, But it's anyways. That's Scott Fitzgerald.
Maybe you could review. The Junkie and all that. William S. Burroughs.
Well, I'm not reading any Burroughs right now, and I don't.
Sorry, that just reminded me of just Burroughs stuff, the way you're talking about it.
Burroughs. So I'll be back with some more videos, guys. So I'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye!